Today's guest made his mark in the NBA. If you are an NBA fan, this one is for you. Better known as Big Shot Rob, over his NBA career, he played for the Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Lakers, San Antonio Spurs, and Phoenix Suns. And along the way, he collected an incredible 7 NBA championships. Known for delivering in the biggest moments and built a legacy as one of the most clutch role players the game has ever seen, so lace up your sneakers and let's hoop right into this episode with Robert Horry. And action.
Yeah,
Okay. But again, so excited to have you, known as one of the most clutch players ever. So have you been?
I've been great. I'm enjoying life. I'm keeping busy with basketball. The thing that kind of put my name on the map. I'm doing Laker television. I'm doing college radio. So I'm enjoying it because college radio is giving my love of basketball back because watching the NBA can be kind of monotonous because everybody runs the same stuff. But college, it makes the game interesting because this is where the passion, where it kind of all starts out for most players.
Yeah, did you catch the Spurs and the Knicks game last night?
It's weird because I was watching it. And then I turned it off. I started watching I started streaming another thing, something else, because it's like, I what makes games for me are the announcers. If I don't like the announcers, and
Oh,
that's that's nothing against D Wade because I love D Wade and the other guy, but it's just I just didn't like the I just didn't like the announcing. I didn't like the way the game was being played. And plus, when you don't have any horses in the race, you kind of don't watch. So I didn't watch.
yeah. I mean, I
Did
watched
you?
a little bit. I watched a little
Mhm.
bit, and that turned on a crime show.
I actually turned on, what's it called? The Girlfriend.
Okay. Is that
Yeah.
like a series?
Yeah, it's a series. It's about, a mother trying to protect her son from a manipulative, crazy girlfriend. So it's actually kinda good.
I have to check that out, though. I've just been watching a lot of documentaries. I've been looking for a really good show to watch, and I just
Mhm.
haven't had any
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, going into basketball, what was your welcome to the NBA moment? Do you remember?
Man, I had a lot of them. Most people always talk about that welcome to the NBA moment on the court. I think for me, it happened Christmas. It was at a Christmas party for the Rockets, and Hakeem Olajuwon says, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And they're like, "Sure," because he had never really talked to me. And so we stepped outside, and he was asking me a bunch of questions, and he said, "Do you care about basketball?" I'm like, "Why you say that?" He says, "Because you play with no emotions." And I was like, "Dude, you don't understand how much I care about basketball. I have to keep my emotions in check so I don't get too outrageous, or I can keep, me focused on the system." And then I turned around and looked at him. I said, "You don't show any emotion either." He's like, "Good point." So, and after that moment, he and I became really good friends. And to fast forward later, we were in the playoffs playing the San Antonio Spurs, and I dunked on David Robinson, and I started doing all this like yelling emotion. He walked past me, says, "I thought you didn't show any emotion." And so it's just one of those things that he and I have become really good friends, and it's just one of those things where you look back on it and realize how special moments like that are to you.
Yeah, is there a shot that you missed that still bothers you?
Do you have enough time? Because there's a lot of them. But I think the one shot that really, really hurts me the most is because I was in a Laker uniform, we were playing the Spurs in San Antonio, and I missed a shot at the buzzer to win the game. That shot hurt for multiple reasons because if I make that shot, we go up 3-2 in that series, and we probably go home and be have a different mindset. But we went home, lethargic. We had already won 3 championships in a row, and this was like going for our 4th championship. So after missing that shot, we went home, we lose, and we out of the series. And then later that year, the Lakers cut me. So technically, I won't say they cut me. They didn't. I had 1 year left on my contract, and they didn't renew that last year because it was like, "Oh, you're washed up. Get out of here." Then I went on to San Antonio and won two championships.
Yeah. And then, social media has, grown so much. So do
Huge.
you think you would have survived this type of social media in your rookie year?
I kind of wish we'd have had social media during my era because I think I would have been appreciated a lot more as a player
Yeah.
because there's so many things that players like myself, I think about guys like AC Green, Rudy Gay, all these guys that when a team says do A, you do it. Team says do B, you do it. and but you don't get the recognition because you don't score a lot of points. And the game is always looked at, well, how many points did you score? Now look at how many wins I got because that's the most important thing, you know. And for me, I think that would have helped my career. And plus, people love winners. Big firms want to attach themselves with winners. So I feel like social media at that time, if I'd have had during my era, young guy in the NBA has, potential to move on and do greater things. I think I would have aligned myself with a lot of different businesses that would have probably helped me and my family out.
Yeah, I mean, but you were a part of an incredible era. You played with
Hmm.
legends like Kobe, Shaq, Hakeem, Tim Duncan. I mean, what did it mean to you to be a part of like an era with that level of competition?
It was great because when I look at that era, I think about how the rules are now. The rules were more restricted for us as far as, this thing called a gather step now, which is technically travel. The thing where you can, if you get hit upside the head, oh, it's a flagrant, let's go to the monitors. It was so many things that, that are different now that allow players to average more points. I think now if you look at guys, oh, guys are averaging more points now. Yeah, because they don't play no defense. The league is designed for these guys to score. The defense is at a disadvantage now because they can't touch you, and now all the player has to do is be weaker than you and know how to act better than you. Then jump into you and then flail, he goes to the free throw line. So it'd be totally different. So I've been really wondering how guys like Kobe, like Shaq, especially Kobe, because he was so athletic. Him and Clyde Drexler, two of the most athletic guys I play with. How many more points they would have averaged if they was able to do a gather step, be able to travel, and be able to get to the line as easily as guys get to the line now.
Yeah. I mean, watching today's NBA, I mean, what's your overall view of this generation of players? And do you have anyone that like you keep your eye on that you watch?
I watch the league as a whole, but not like intensely like I should, because I
Yeah.
just think there's so many great guys. If you look at talent, the guys are so talented now. You look at Steph Curry, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, the way these guys can handle the rock. It's amazing what they can do with it. And then and they're taking the game to new heights. So you really appreciate that. But the guys I watch are guys like Mikal Bridges, who I think is like a player who just, when I said earlier, does A, B, C, and D. When a team asks you to do that, he does that. And other guys, like you watch younger guys like Wimby, you want to see if he's going to turn out to be this great player everybody's anticipating him to be. And then you watch guys like Jokic who just play hard each and every night when they're out there. And Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it's so weird that you see these guys that are foreign players, you know, play so hard. And then you look at the U.S. players and you okay, why y'all don't play as hard as these foreign players? It just astonishes me how the play is different and how much love and passions foreign players have for the game compared to American players now.
Yeah, I do see a lot of like foreign, like out of the country basketball players. Actually, I'm hearing about them more. Like
Hmm.
they really like talked about that often because it was always about like American NBA. Now I'm
Yeah.
hearing about it a lot. Like my uncle Erwin, he actually played in Turkey for a few
Hmm.
years in like the 2000s. So I thought that was great. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but it's cool to hear about that more.
Well, it's cool because you could see how um, the development stages or the development system that's had in the European countries. They develop players a little more as far as you have the AAU system that's destroying American basketball because every parent thinks their kid has to be on the AAU circuit, which is not the case because colleges don't want college players high school players unless you're top 25. You
Mm,
always have to go, if I had a one recommendation to all high school kids, go to after you graduate high school, if you are not a top 50 player, go to an academy. Then when you go to an academy, that means they give you another year to develop. And colleges look more at academy guys because they're older. Then you go to the academy, go to JUCO. If you really want to, follow basketball, you on that tier where you're trying to figure things out. Then go to a JUCO for 2 years, and then you can go pro. I mean, go high college because now you got 3 years where you develop and become a man. And this is what these colleges are looking for now. It's just the system is flawed because these kids don't develop in AAU now because all the only guys that develop are the really good guys, and the coaches let them do what they want to do.
嗯 yeah, but being like being in every championship, well, you were in 7 you won 7 championships.
Mhm.
So how does, like, each championship affect you, and how'd you win it, if that makes
But
sense?
yeah, it
Like,
makes sense, it makes sense. You know, each championship was different. You think of my first championship was against the Knicks. That series made me wanna get in the weight room, and what I mean by that is because we went up against Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Charles Smith, Anthony Mason. That was all guys that like strong and like bodybuilders, right? And so that made me want to get stronger. I got stronger, but the next year, in '95, we played Orlando, and I was like, it's a totally different game. You went from, physical to finesse. And I said, okay, this is who I am. I got the perfect body. I got the perfect athleticism, and it worked out great. And then all of a sudden, I moved into that role of changing the game, becoming on a power forward. Like who puts a small forward who's only weighing 215 at power forward when most guys are weighing 245, 250. So then I had to put on more weight when I got to the Lakers because they wanted me to play power forward on a consistent basis. And it was like, wow, this is a totally game changer. And from that moment, everything after that was kind of consistent because the game had moved from physicality, to, going in there where we wanted more of a flow, a streaming game. And plus, I didn't need to be physical because I had Shaquille O'Neal for 7 years. And then the next year I had Tim Duncan. So the whole game kind of changed. And each championship was different in the sense that it presented different challenges. You went from physicality to like finesse, and then we played Indiana in my third championship. It was a little bit of both. It was weird because you had Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, all those guys, and on the other hand, you had the Davis brothers who was physical. And then the following year, we went and played, the Sixers, which was sort of similar to that, but you didn't have to play as much defense compared to the previous year because it was all about stopping Allen Iverson. It was totally different, and that's the great thing about the NBA. Each year you're gonna go up against someone different, and because they add pieces or they lose pieces, they become different. Different teams, and I think after that, you everybody was kind of the same because the NBA is such a copycat league that they started like, oh, this is working for, the New Jersey Nets. This is working for whoever it may be. And like now, if you look around the league, ever since the Splash Brothers, everything has been going towards the looking like the Splash Brothers, shooting a lot of threes and doing this sort of thing. So, but it was each championship was fun. But if you look at the one common denominator that was very successful for the teams I was on, we had a really, 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 really good center. Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, and Tim Duncan.
yeah. Who was the best trash talker, and did anyone get inside your head?
Nobody actually got inside of my head. It was weird because I'm the type of person is I'm so focused. If I'm focused on something, I don't hear you. I'm locked in. Like my wife gets mad at me sometime because she be talking to me. I'm watching TV. I don't hear a word she's saying. Did you hear what I said? I'm like, no. And my kids do the same thing. I'm like, if I'm locked in, I block out all the outside noise. But I did play with one of the best trash talkers ever in Vernon Maxwell. So he was, he talked trash for you. I remember we playing the Chicago Bulls one time. We playing, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. He was talking so much trash as Jordan. Then he looked up at Scotty and was like, "Yeah, my rookie gonna kick your ass too." I'm like, "Yo, man, don't put me in that. I don't need no extra. I don't need no extra motivation going at me." So but he was such a competitor, and you love that fire. And sometimes when your teammates talk trash, you try to back them up, and so you don't want them to looking like they talking out the side of their neck. So it was
Yeah.
always fun to play with guys like that.
And gets you riled up. You're like, "Oh, okay." You're like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." But overall, how would you compare the NBA now to when you played?
Overall, it's so, so different, and a lot has to do with, who's in charge, of a team. And you look at certain teams are constructed one way, and then other teams constructed that. But overall, like I said earlier, it all turns out to be the same stuff. Everybody runs a 4-out scheme trying to get an open three, and it's a lot of talent, but it's not a lot of imagination when it comes to the coaches. The
Mm,
coaches are such copycats. They feel if it works for you, it'll work for me. No, it don't because I got Steph Curry, who's the greatest shooter to ever play this game. No, it doesn't work for you because I got Ant-Man, one of the most athletic people. No, it doesn't work for you because I got Jokic, probably the best player in the game. So there's so many things that people try to emulate You know, they say the greatest flattery is trying to copy someone, but it only works if you got the ability to copy that person. Because you think about, you know, the greatest player ever played this game, and Michael Jordan, who copied him, Kobe Bryant. And he had a great and successful career because he copied him to a T. It was nothing that Jordan did that Kobe didn't do. So, and a lot of teams don't understand is if you're gonna copy me, you got to do it exactly how I do it. Otherwise, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, do you see that in college basketball too?
Not really in college because college has most coaches in college, you know, is all about recruiting. And so whatever players you get, you have to adapt your system to those players. And I can think about when I was in college, I know it was many, 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 many moons ago. Each year our plays changed because our personnel changed. I know, my first year it was more of a post up because we had Michael Ainsley who was in that post, doing a lot of our post scoring. Then the following year was David Benoit and myself, which I wasn't really a post player. So it was a lot of like movement and shooting off the movement. And then by the time our junior and senior year, we had, some dynamic guards and Hollywood and Spreewell. So we did a lot of, perimeter stuff with me moving around. So, and that's the sign of great coaches. If you coach the system, sometimes you get lost in the system. But if you coach the players, that's when the players succeed.
Yeah, and you went to Alabama, right? Roll
Correct.
Tide.
Hmm. Yeah, roll
Roll
tide.
Tide. Yeah, but, when you look at those shots and moments that built your reputation as one of the most clutch players, what was happening internally and mentally in those seconds that fans never got to see? Because when it's, like, up to you, like, when it's, like, the ball's in your hands and it's, like, seconds is on the clock, like, what's going on in your mind?
It's so weird. This is probably the question I get asked more than any question
Really?
throughout my career. Yes, and
No, I
they
want it
always
to be
want to know the
different.
mindset of a player. And what's your mindset going in there? I'm like, dude, I'm going to play basketball. I don't think about anything, but it's like, you can always, to me, body language is the most important thing outside, being a good person when it comes to basketball. You can tell when guys have a good body language, they're feeling good, they have a swagger in their walk, a smile on their face. And for me, I try to always keep my body's language the same and do what I need to do to perform. But every time it came down to that moment, I was just like, okay, let's just do it. Because I felt like I did so much prep to get to this point. All that time spent in the gym, all that time spent in the weight room, all that time doing what I need to do to prepare myself mentally and physically, that I didn't need to think about anything because it's second nature. I kind of compare it to people. I said, all right, you just wake up in the morning. You gotta go to the bathroom. You get out of the bed, you walk straight to the bathroom, right? You don't even think about going left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. You just do it, right? I know that's the Nike slogan, but you just do it because you've done it so many times, it becomes a part of who you are.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that.
Hmm.
You know, I that's a good way to put it. 'Cause you're right, you're probably not even thinking about anything in your mind. You're just like,
Yeah.
"How do I get this ball in the net?"
And it's weird because you can think some people think about it and some people react to it. I think you look at all the great players, from MJ, Kobe, they create they create the reaction for themselves. Like if I want the defense to go a certain way so I can get back to my favorite shot on my left or my right, they're going to create an action from the defense for my reaction. I think that's what all the greats do, and you got some greats that can just, it doesn't matter who's on them, what kind of action or reaction you do. I'm just going to shoot over the top of you because I'm just that good.
Yeah. You were very, very good. I have watched your
Oh,
clip, and I was
thank
like,
you.
"You're a baller." Real. I was like yeah, I was actually shocked. I told my dad because he's a sports guy, like, he coached basketball and football. I was like, "Daddy, interview Robert Horry." He goes, "Oh, okay. Yeah." And he was making sure I knew everything. He goes, "You got him? Got this? You got this?" I was like, "Yes,
Tell
I
Pops
got
I said
it."
thank you.
I was like, "I
Mm,
got it. I'm
mm.
good." But yeah, I was just and also that last question I asked you, dang it, I wanted to be something different. I didn't want the same question that you've been asked
Well,
multiple.
it's you gotta understand, I'm 55 years old. I've been around basketball since I was 10 years old. So that's a lot of time and a lot of questions and a lot of interviews, and that's the one thing I love about, doing interviews and talking because you get some of the same questions and then you get some new questions. Like you've asked me some different questions, but it's always great to enlighten people and because, your brand and your touch is totally different than this guy over here, this young lady over here. So, your that reach is still good because there's gonna be someone that's gonna watch this and don't know the answer to that question. I never heard that question asked before. So you good.
Thank you. I try to make it interesting. I try to spice it up. I don't want it to be like this podcast. I don't want it to just be like a generic podcast. I want to be
No,
different.
it's not, there's the thing about podcasts is, you have to your personality is gonna bring out the best in the podcast. And so I think that's the best thing about doing podcasts and just having fun with it. You gotta come up with something good. Like if you listen to my podcast, the Big Shot Bob Pod, we have days where we're great, we have days when we're boring. So it's just gonna be one of those things.
You're just like, well, this episode is a little bit, but it's okay.
Hey, but here's the thing, it's about the people you have on, and the fun you have, and the connections you make. Mm,
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah, that's actually really true. This is my 12th episode now, and I have to say, like, I remember the connections more than anything.
mhm,
So those have
yeah,
been, like, the biggest thing that I've taken away from, like, the episodes I've done so far. It's just a connection that I've been really enjoying. So,
mhm,
yeah.
see? Yeah,
Yeah, and it's been challenging too. It's a great challenge to do
yeah,
this by myself.
yeah. That is it's hard because you gotta come up with questions, you gotta come up with, if do I like little games we play, like on my podcast, we have, the big shot of the week, we have, a game we play, but it's a lot easier when you're dealing with 2 other people, and I just sit back and ride their coattails.
You're That's the best way to do it though. Always, give it to your guest.
Mhm,
Yeah, but anyways, earlier, a couple of days ago, you went to China. You just got back
mhm,
from China.
correct,
What?
mhm.
How was your trip there?
China is always fun. I've been going to China since I retired. It's one of those things. I'm an ambassador for the NBA. I didn't mention that, but what most ambassadors do, they travel the world and do goodwill stuff, clinics, dinners, just to say thank you to a lot of our sponsors. And one of our sponsors was Go China, which is the cell phone company, and Migu, which is like a just a AI platform, because everything is going that way now. And so for me, it was great to go meet these people and see all the little gadgets. And plus, I love Chinese food. That's one of the reasons I like taking this trip. But it's always fun, and I think the Chinese always enjoy having me come there because I don't know how to say it, but they consider me the lucky one. And because of the number 7 and all the championships, I remember the first time I ever went to China, I went to this car dealership, was in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I don't even know how I even made it back to the States, but it was in the middle of nowhere. And they sold 7 cars that day. And he said, we don't even sell 7 cars in 6 months. And so ever since then, the rumor got around like, if you have Robert Horry come visit your shop, good luck follows.
I mean, yeah, you do have 7 rings and there's 7 days in the week, so do you just rotate them out?
That would be a good idea, but no, it's so weird. I haven't seen my rings in probably about 10 years, maybe. They're in a safe deposit box in Houston, and people are always like, "Where are your rings at?" Safe deposit box. I said, "For all I know, it could have been a heist in their bank, and they're not even there anymore. I hadn't seen them anymore." So it's been that. But it's weird because I don't even think about it. I say you win 7 championships. I don't even think about the rings. It's the craziest thing. I was like, I don't know why, and trust me, if I would wear them every day if I could. I wouldn't think about losing one or because here's a funny story. So, I was at this event and I was with what's his name? Dupree. I think he was a receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. And so he was like, yeah, he said, I wear my ring everywhere I go because I'm proud of it. I was like, yeah, I'm proud of mine too, but I never wear them. He says, then the young lady that was kind of the person that put us all together said, oh, can I see your ring? He hands her his ring, which I would never do, and she dropped it and a diamond fell out. So
No.
that's why if you go anywhere with your ring, I'm scared of hitting it on something, the diamond falling out. So he lost a diamond in his ring. I don't know if he ever got it replaced, but she felt awful. So that's why I never
Oh
wear my rings. They need to be
gosh.
pristine for my kids when
Oh,
I
I don't even know how it would feel. I would be
Mm,
like, "Oh my gosh." That's why I don't like to handle anything too fragile, because I feel like, all of a sudden, I'll get slippery fingers. Like,
yeah.
it's like,
You
you
start
just
sweating and your
so
fingers
precious.
get
You're just you're like, "Don't give it to me, don't give it to me.
Yeah,
I'm afraid I'm gonna drop it." Yeah, like, with, like, my grandpa's, little it's not a knife, it's like a little tool thing, and my grandmother gave it to me, and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because it's something so precious, and
yeah.
I'm like, "I don't know if I even am responsible for this right now." I was like so I just put it, like, on my table to know where I can see it and won't touch it, because I will lose stuff in an instant.
That's how it is, my father passed away, like, 2 years ago, so he used to collect all these little toy trucks. I'm like, "Why did he collect these?" And I feel bad because I never asked him why he collects these, right? And so
Yeah.
now I have them sitting in my office, and I'm like, "What am I gonna do with these things?" And I'm like and I was like, "Do I put them in a box and put them away?" She was, "No." So I just left them on the railing of of the window, so it looked like I got a car jam sitting on my window.
No, but that's so
So,
cool, though.
yeah, but, you have to appreciate the things that are left behind, because, there's a reason that they have them still because it meant something to them. I was looking at all the stuff that I have, and I've been trying to stockpile my stuff in the sense of, my kids, when I leave to my kids, I'm like, yo, this was important to me. The other BS, you can get rid of that. Because, we don't want to get rid of stuff that belong to our parents or our loved ones because we feel like it's special. But I'm like the type of, hey, that wasn't special. You can get rid of that. Keep
Yeah.
the stuff that's special and pass along to your kids. So that's gonna be important to me. Like my
Right.
rings, pass those on.
Yes. Yes. Definitely
Yeah.
pass them on. But anyways, outside of basketball, do you watch football?
I love football. I love football. I'm so excited for the college playoffs coming up. I love to sit down and watch. Alabama plays Oklahoma Friday.
Yeah, I'm nervous.
And I just saw where you are Eagles fan. Hate to see what happened to Mahomes. So it's just, I hate to see all the injuries in sports because it's so hard to come back from that. To answer your question, yes, I love football, I love baseball, I love basketball, I love tennis. The only thing I can't get into is hockey. Hockey and
Yeah.
soccer. I can't get into those two. I like watching hockey, but soccer, not so much.
Yeah, I think maybe hockey's more of a Canadian thing, but it is coming down here, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I went to Tennessee and I saw, like, a hockey team, I don't know which one, but I was in Nashville and, they were playing a game. I was like, "Oh, okay, they're bringing hockey down here." Yeah. Um, you don't watch any, like, what is it? UFL? No, 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 no. Not UFL, but, what is
UFC.
it? Yes!
I
That one.
love UFC too. Yeah. But it's so weird because when I used to be really in UFC, I knew everybody, I watched all the time. I used to go to the matches. I used to do that for boxing too. But now, because of my schedule, and now it used to be free. Now it's pay-per-view. I'm like, man, I ain't finna pay $60 for something and the guy gonna get knocked down in the first round or something. So it's just hard to keep up with. So I don't have the time. I rather, with now with all the streaming services, if you wait 2 days, you get to see it again. So, when it comes to like something like UFC, like I just wait 2 days and watch it. I don't care who won. I just like to watch a good fight.
Right. I watched it before, and I don't know, I just can't get into, like, the blood, um, thing. I was like, I don't know, like, I can watch it up until things, like, they start getting bloody and I can't see them. I'm like, "Yeah, no." I don't know, people, like, watch, like, up front, like, in the front row. I'll be just, just scared.
I get it. I know. I remember the first one I went to live. I'm like 3 rows back from the ring. I felt this. I literally thought I felt the sweat or spit, whatever it was, hit me upside the face when he got. All I saw was his jaw go this way, like, oh, and it's just, so. So I get it. I get it.
You're you're like, "Dang." You're like, "Okay." Yeah, I don't know, but maybe one day when I, like, kinda get over my fear of seeing blood, I will, probably watch a fight. I don't know, it's just weird, but yeah. So wrapping up, what is keeping you busy?
um, you know, oh, you think about what's been a part of my life for so long is basketball. Trust me, being a country boy from Alabama with that country twang, I never thought I'd be in the big city of LA covering the Lakers, doing their television, even going on the road and doing college radios. And then, I think a lot has to do because I won championships. People want to hear from a guy who's been there, done that. I might not win a championship and the natty in college, but he won a bunch of SEC championships. So I think people like to hear from us and like to get that different perspective because nowadays you have so many commentators that are really, really good, but they never played at a high level. So they don't really know the intricacies that can happen in the game because, one of the things that you have to teach some people when you watch the game of basketball, just don't watch the ball. You got to watch the whole court and see how movement is made, backdoor cuts or back pick, on the weak side or the strong side, whatever it may be. So that's the one thing that, I never thought I'd be doing. And that's what's been keeping me busy, basketball. Watching it, learning about it, and then traveling the world for it. You think about being an ambassador for the NBA. So let's just say that little round thing called basketball has made my life great and has allowed me to do some things and meet some people that I never thought I'd be able to do. Think about it. I was, sitting there chatting it up with Denzel Washington, sitting there chatting it up with Selma Hayek, sitting there, shooting the bull or the rock. There's so many people that, that you get to meet because of being able to shoot a basketball and playing for the Lakers and being in Tinseltown, so to say.
Right? Who would have thought? I mean, I'm a small town girl from Alabama as well, I'm from Tuscaloosa. But yeah. But I know you made your mark here in Alabama though. You definitely
Uh,
made your mark here on this court. So yeah, you're very appreciated and um
Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate me because sometimes when you don't, win national championship for your school, you don't feel like the school appreciates you. So thank you for appreciating me.
no hey, well, Alabama likes to win.
Well, I know.
They like to win. That's all they're passionate. Passionate, of course. But yeah.
They're very passionate, very aware too. They're aware of the weaknesses and the strengths, very aware.
Yes. That's why I think every athlete should come play here because I just think it's that exciting.
Yeah. Is that exciting? But I think for me, one of the reasons I went to Alabama is just because number one, my mama made me. But number two, I think it was, watching Derek McKee and watching this guy who was, not really highly recruited develop into this really good player. Left out of his junior year, went pro. So it's about that development. And I saw myself in his mold. And so this school just put a guy that was not known all over the country like a lot of players into the NBA. So that's what you want to do. You want to follow someplace where they can develop you for the next level or get you open up a door to be able to get you to that next level. So that's what I look at, and I was very thankful for my journey at Alabama.
Yeah. I hear a lot of athletes say that though, that Alabama definitely develop their talents and skills. I've been hearing
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, this is not trying to throw shade on the coach at the basketball team right now, but there's that you think about for the 4 years I was at Alabama. I know that was a long time ago, and people say, "Oh, that was a long time ago." I played with 12 pros at one point on my team, 12 pros. So now you look at how many guys got drafted off the Alabama basketball team last year, zero. The previous year, what, zero, then one. So it's like, the fact that they're winning is great, but they need to learn how to develop their players because, you go to college to get better in every aspect of life, as far as mentally, physically. And so you go there to learn and get a degree so you be better, get a better job. If you go basketball is your route, you need to go there and learn, develop, and not just be able to guy who can get up and down the court and score because the NBA has plenty of that, but you got to have some type of niche. And I feel like that's one of the things that Alabama program need to focus on. This way they can get back to dropping guys, two and three guys, and four and five guys into the league more than just one sparingly here in the 1 to 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah, but thank you so much for your time. I always say
My
this with
pleasure.
my guests. I definitely appreciate your time. Time is expensive. So I just wanted to let you know how
how much I appreciate.
You must know how much I charge an hour.
Hey, I'm really listen, I was like, "Let me just let you know, I'm definitely appreciative."
No, you appreciate it. I'm just kidding,
Yeah.
you know. It's like I love helping out as much as I possibly can, especially for someone who's from Alabama because you know I got a lot of love for you know my people in Alabama. My mom still lives there, so I love Alabama. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide, roll. But yeah. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, Robert.
Thank you. I wish you great success on your podcast, and more importantly, thanks for having me on. Think about having me on and having me on. Yes, thank you.
Of course.